All right, guys, here it is finally. I finally have some good drone footage of the big floodable impoundment project that I've been working on at some hunting property that we have in central Minnesota. If you're looking for more details on this project, I'd really reference you back to a video I put out in December of 2018 where I have some aerial photos and kind of a full diagram and really go into the details of what I was trying to construct here. I'm not going to go into all those details here, so check that out if you're interested. I'll just point out a couple things as we walk through this thing. For example, down in the low spot of the berm, you can see this is where I was installing the water control structures earlier this summer. And that'll ultimately obviously control my drainage and just overall management of the impoundment itself. You can see the berm, which is about 800 feet. If you look closely, there's an ATV running across it right in the video. I had some buddies up giving me a hand, so I put them all to work. I planted that thing this fall. I put a seed mix on it from River Refuge Seed Company out of Oregon. Talk to Chris out there, he's the man. Basically, it's just a mix of stuff that really creates a thick root bed to prevent erosion. So we'll see how that comes in next spring. Again, the whole hope is down by the berm, that area, if I can get water down there, I should be able to flood 2 to 3 acres worth of food plot. And so far, like if I get this thing seeded next year, we might actually be able to put it into use for hunting season next fall. So we'll see what happens. The other thing I'll point out up here is where the water control structure is that I installed last fall. I put some YouTube videos out on that as well. That controls the water from the pond you're looking at currently, and which is connected to some other ponds and wetlands that you can't see. Again, the idea is on the left side of your screen, I have elevation there that's higher than the berm. So I should be able to put water onto my food plot all via gravity, and therefore won't have to rely on pumps at all. I'll just be using my water control structure. So the last thing I just want to mention is this property, all the water that you can see on this drone footage, none of it existed just 5 years ago. This is some land, it's multiple pieces that were bought at different times, but we've had it for roughly 30 years. And like this was just deer hunting property. That's kind of all we've thought of it as. And I got a gun dog about 5 years ago and wanted some better opportunities for duck and goose hunting. I started reading about creating habitat and revitalizing wetlands and so forth. And before you know it, I realized that we really had a gem of a property on our hands, and like I never realized it. It was just kind of an opportunity staring us in the face. In the Midwest in particular, when you start paying attention, what you realize is like every wetland that you can imagine has been drained, has been ditched and or drained or attempted to be drained out. And on the one hand, it's depressing because you realize like how much habitat's been destroyed. But on the other hand, it presents an opportunity too. There's a lot of instances where, there's wetlands that, they are drained, but, it's just a spot that even with them being drained, it's still kind of swampy. And in many cases, you can just plug the ditches up, and before you know it, nature kind of does its thing, and that wetland will be back in good order. And that's kind of what we did here in a couple different cases. We did some excavating to create some of the ponds that you're looking at, but in the last part of the drone footage here, I'm going to go back into the woods where the beaver pond is. And this is really a good example of what I'm talking about. Where the beaver pond is, back in the woods, and I'll get back there in a few seconds, there was nothing back there at all. It was totally dry for all the years that we had owned the property. We worked with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. They provided some consulting, and we basically plugged up the ditch where this thing had been drained. Again, who knows how long ago. And before you know it, it didn't take too long. We had a beaver move in and create a huge beaver dam back there. And as you can see, when you look down right now, look at all the standing water I have. It's just unbelievable. And I've been throwing wild rice back in this thing the last couple years. I have some videos on that as well. It's taken fantastically. And the ducks have been in there like crazy. It's been great. So I'm probably rambling here, but my point is, you know, a lot of people probably have great potential on land that they don't even realize. If you start paying attention to some of the wetlands and the ditching that's been done, you might have some pretty low-hanging fruit to create some great habitat for yourself and kind of build one of your own setups. So anyway, looks like my timing is kind of pretty good here. I'm just about to the end of the video. So I appreciate you following along. If you got any questions, drop those in the comments section, and I'll do my best to answer them. So again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.